See, the law is this, right? From the date of marriage to the date you file divorce. Well, this is here in Florida. And it's very similar in other places too. From the date of marriage to the date of divorce, Kandi, everything that was accumulated must be split. They say Candy's the most humble, and she the richest, and she don't even act like it.
Oh my God.
That's the rumor outside, you know. That you're the richest and the most talented, but you never go there about it.
I heard a couple say it, but I didn't know that was like the thing.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the thing.
I just kind of feel like, especially, you know, like you said, we grew up together.
Yes.
I saw people that I started in the industry with who were more successful than me.
Sure.
Type thing.
But no longevity, right?
Right. So it made it very real to me that you could be on top of the world one minute, and then the person who was the intern or the whoever,
I'm telling you,
could be way more successful than you, have way more money than you the next minute. So it's
like they say, two things we know for sure in life: prayers work and tables do turn. I'm pretty sure your house in Atlanta is absolutely gorgeous. Anybody that walks into your house must understand that they are blessed to be in your presence.
I had already heard. I can turn a shade tree into a money tree.
So welcome, ladies. My name is Danny. I'm the head of the Tequila Library here, which is what you're sitting in. I know we're not drinking tequila, but I can definitely make you some nice little mocktails. Traditionally, when guests come in here, I don't have a menu. I do everything from scratch based off of some adjectives that you may give me or some of your favorite style of cocktails. So it's really your world. If you want something sweet, sour, strong, bitter, fruity, flavorful, spicy, refreshing, your world. Give me some adjectives. Tell me if you got any allergies, and we have some fun that way.
I'm going to tell you Jamaican,
Hey.
Queen, gorgeous, and just take one look at me and that's it. That's what I know.
And no allergies.
What she was thinking was so much more, you know,
She making me blush, so it's
nice.
on.
And I was just like, okay, sweet and flavorful.
Sweet and flavorful?
Yes.
Gotcha.
What's up, y'all? I am your girl, Kandi, and next to me, we have the beautiful, the successful, the inspirational, very intelligent woman who inspires us through her social media page, which I've been following her for a very long time. Much love to Natasha Mayne.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, she is about to
Speak on it.
Hey. Well, okay, so we are out here in the beautiful city of Miami. Now, I would love to introduce you to people who may or may not already know you. I know when I told my stylist, D-Hawk, you said, you know, we're going to have Natasha Mayne on our show. He said, ooh, I love her.
Oh, that's so sweet.
She loves your fashion.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I know I love your fashion, but I would have to say that not only did I follow you some years ago because of your fashion.
You know, I'm living here in Miami. I've been here pretty much all of my life. I decided to practice matrimony and family law, which is pretty much a divorce attorney. I do everything for families, child support, all that good thing. So everybody can relate to anything that I'm about to say today because we'll all find it relatable. But I took my practice as a divorce attorney and kind of created into like a woman's ministry to try to tell women that, hey, you know, being a divorce attorney for over 20 years, I have a cesspool of cautionary tales that I try to convey to women every single day. So that's what Kandi and I are going to be doing here.
Oh, okay. Cautionary tales. All right. I love that. Before we get into some of the advice and things that you can give us in that lane, I want to know, like, how did you become this fashionista?
You know, I got to say that it kind of came to me innately. You know, I guess growing up poor was the basis for being very creative. Mm-hmm. You know, I am number 4 out of 5 children, and my mom was a teacher. My dad was an electrician. So there wasn't a lot of money to go around. So I had to take what I had, so whatever passed me down as I had, and make the best of it. And I've learned how to, one thing my mom did is from a very young age. She always taught us about linens, textiles, and how things are stitched and things that are well stitched versus not well stitched. So at a very young age, I learned how to master going to the thrift stores and buy the most beautiful things in the world. Now, as an adult, when I can afford these things, I know how to pick the most beautiful pieces.
Now, were you born here or were you born in Jamaica?
I am first American. I'm first generation American. So my little sister and I are born here. The other three were born in Jamaica. So I am first generation, born right here in Miami.
But you still have the accent.
Listen, South Florida is Kingston 19. There's so many Jamaicans here. And being the fact that my parents are so Jamaican, and you have a tendency to attract kids that grew up like you of the same culture.
Yeah.
So, the whole world is kind of like Jamaican all around.
Yeah. How did you start this whole trend of, giving advice online and inspiring people and all of that?
Kandi, my heart was broken, man.
What?
My heart was broken. Do you know how hard I'm pretty sure you're a woman, right?
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to love somebody and know that this is not the right person for you. You gotta walk away. So I started giving the people what I need because I couldn't find it anywhere else. Mm-hmm. I wanted some real, authentic truths about relationships. And because like I said, practiced divorce law, I done heard law, but I still wasn't making the right choices.
And that's like so normal because a lot of people, we don't always practice what we preach.
Exactly. And love is very illogical. Sometimes it just depends on the time and space where we are in our lives. Somebody could come through the door that's a blue collar worker and you're at your lowest point in life, but he just happens to say the right things. It makes your heart this is what I need at the time. Whereas if you were in your right, and I'm not saying blue collar worker versus professional, whatever. But a lot of times finances are very important in relationships, right? I'm going to say, and I know a lot of people are going to give me negative feedback about it, but I will not be with anybody that makes less money.
Oh, okay. Let's have this discussion. It's like, along the lines of how you feel.
Kiss to you, mommy.
But obviously, in my own life, I chose a man who didn't necessarily make as much money as I make. And we're going to be 11 years married on April 4th.
Right, because not everybody has the mindset where they're wanting to take from you. Not everybody, I'm not saying everybody has that mindset. Okay. But I definitely don't, from what I see every day in my life, I just want to have a prenup. Right?
Oh, I definitely did that.
Okay, good.
Nah, so you love, but I'm going crazy.
That's right. So you secured yourself.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to give you a little bit about my background, and people may or may not know, I'm a child of divorce. Okay. So both my parents have had multiple divorces and marriages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I don't want to tell everybody business, but I think 5 marriages on one side, 3 on the other. No, 6 marriages on one side, 3.
I think you're from descendants of hopeless romantics.
Is that what it is? Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I think because of that, really growing up, I didn't really put importance on marriage. So I had friends who was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get married." I had one homegirl who had her whole folder was already put together what her wedding dress was going to look like, what the bridesmaids and the colors. And she didn't even have an engagement yet. And I was like,
yeah, that wasn't me.
Yeah, I was never that girl. But it just so happened that I met the man that worked for me and we ended up getting married.
That's a beautiful thing.
I wasn't pressed about marriage.
Yeah, me neither. And I just know today that it is so important for women to learn to honor themselves, right? And I think the honoring starts with our vagina, honestly. No. I think the honoring starts from our vagina. I think we don't acknowledge the beauty that God has given us.
Okay.
And I think by not acknowledging it, honoring it, worshiping it, telling it I love you, I adore you, I find you to be so important, thank God for you. We don't do that. So when you don't acknowledge something, you don't place a value. Oh, absolutely. When you don't place respect on your vagina, you'll freely give it because it doesn't mean anything.
I'm going to hold that thought until we get our mouth. Okay, all right. So we got to really dig into this conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important to a lot of people.
Thank you.
Ooh, so what are these?
Yes, tell me.
So she said Jamaica, and queen are the two that I really got. So on here I have a little bit of lime, agave, some cucumber puree, topped with ginger beer, and then a hibiscus rosemary syrup from the bottom. So you'll see it's a layered cocktail. So it'll get sweeter as you go, and you have a little bit of bite. And we just said make it taste like candy, so I don't know what you taste like. I don't know what candy tastes like. And that has a little bit of passion fruit, some strawberries, some lime, some agave, also topped with ginger beer to give you a little bit of that sparkle. And then a sugar rim.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Okay. Cheers to honoring our vagina. Amen. That's right. Honor.
On the serious note, we should take toast to our appetites.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So let's take a toast.
Toast to our vaginas. That's right. Think about the vagina, right? Everybody came through one. We all came from a womb, right?
Yeah.
Or at least we want to believe we were conceived through a womb. These are the things that they don't teach in school.
Right.
They don't teach honoring yourself, and they don't teach emotional intelligence, which are two of the greatest things that I think lead you into, thank you so much, lead you into being your authentic self and not wanting to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
We are in a generation where everybody wants to be like the next person. Because if we stand out, we're oftentimes criticized and then caught. Once it becomes trend.
That is true.
Yeah. Once it becomes trend. But going back to honoring your vagina, we're very routine with our vaginas. We bathe it. Mm-hmm. We dry it. Mm-hmm. We probably put some smell when we're going to be with the guy. But that's about it. What else do we do? Nothing else.
We laser hair it, we wax it.
But we do things like that because we want to feel clean. We want to do all those things. Okay. But we don't take the time to really honor our vagina.
Okay.
And understand the power of honoring our vagina. I think first start by acknowledging the beauty of it, the uniqueness of it. Vaginas have First Nations have brought down men all over the world. And if we were to acknowledge that our vaginas are so powerful and utilize it that way, a lot of us would never sink into depression. The number one reason why women sink into depression is usually a relationship. Some relationship that went that. But if we were to instill in ourselves our vagina and honoring it and making sure we acknowledge the fact that we are queens and God put us on earth to revitalize an entire civilization. That's what we're here for. I think we would look at relationships a lot different. I know for sure any guy that approaches me or any guy that I'm with, the first thing I think, do they deserve to tap into my temper?
I think today's generation and a lot of people of the now are very loose with their vagina.
Yes.
You know, a lot of women, and especially young women, are under the thing of like, why can't I just have sex if I want to have sex? And I guess a lot of women don't really think about who that person is that they allow them to.
Because we're never taught that, right? Because a lot of times our own mothers were struggling with relationships like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Right? We're never taught that.
Mm-hmm.
We're never taught to really stand our ground and say, you know what? Every ounce of my being should be honored. We don't. All we want to do in life is to love and be loved.
True.
Right? That's all we want to do with our life. Love and be loved. But it's not that simple. You got to love yourself first, properly. Mm-hmm. And then I think you'll make the right choices. My last relationship taught me that I had to really boss up on my love life. Right? Like really boss up.
Okay, do you mind me asking, were you in a relationship where you made more than your partner, or how did that work?
Nah, he made more than.
Okay. Yeah, so you always said that.
No, because I married somebody from childhood where we went. I met him at 17. I had 2 baby fathers, and I think, okay, it's too much, right? But if somebody was talking these things, I think I would have done that at 2, right? Mm-hmm. And I think at 2, I decided I was going to stop, right? So I married like my high school sweetheart. We met at 17. I was with him through undergrad. I was with him through law school. And as soon as I graduated from law school, I would say a year after we got married and had baby.
Oh, okay. Well, I said my baby father, but Todd is my husband.
Right.
But I do have one that was just a baby father.
Right. So this was my husband. The first one was my husband. We just grew separate ways. Not like one grew good and one grew bad. We just grew separate. All right. The second one.
And was that prior to success?
My husband? Oh, correct. My husband, that's correct. We were kids. Mm-hmm. I was with him for 15 years, from like 17 years old all the way until I graduated from law school. So I was just on my journey to developing a name for myself. Right? So there was never like, I'm better than you, you're better than, we didn't have those issues, but we just grew different. We proved I had certain goals, he had certain goals, and we clashed. And that's okay, right? Because I learned lessons in that one. And I decided not to do certain things. Every relationship that I'm in, long-term relationship that I'm in, I take the lessons and I bring it to the next relationship. So my next relationship now, and I almost said the name, but I need to say the name. We had similarities, but we also had differences. And I gotta say, to the extreme. We would know how to be in here, and we would both be dancing on tables. But when we get ready to fight, watch out, everything we go in. I'm talking about throwing bottles, and then 2 or 3 days we're like, "Oh, I love you though," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were both Scorpios. It just wasn't gonna work. Okay?
I can't even imagine.
It just wasn't going to work. So I decided to myself, I was like, I got acceptable. And that was one of the most hurtful things in my life, knowing that I love somebody so much, but I just knew that they were not good for me. I just knew. It took me like a year or two after that to really digest the fact that, wow, I made this move. It is so hurtful. Nobody talks about the pain you feel when you actually make the move that's benefit. I wasn't able to have the luxury of being the dress because I got to work. I got 2 children at this time, and I got older parents. Like, I have to be supportive of my family. Right? And although I'm the 4th out of 5 children, I am the child that kind of stirs the pot for the whole family. Right? I think I just got the strongest personality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And like everything you did on, yeah.
Right. So since that time, I think it is just always so important for us to tell our children, especially girl children, boy children too. Because, I mean, our boys and our girls are getting together, right? And we want to make sure the man and the woman has an understanding of who you are and be good to one another. I tell my daughter all the time, so I have a daughter and a son. I'm very strict on my kids because I know what life is like. I grew up in Carroll City, which is Miami Gardens. A lot of people come from here. Rick Ross comes from there.
Yeah.
Flo Rida comes from there. Trina grew up a couple of miles south in Liberty City. But it's basically the entire environment that we did in. I always knew growing up that it was either we were going to get a court date or be in the casket. Right? That's how I grew up. Court date or casket? Which one did you want? I had a lot of resistance in my environment because I wasn't supposed to be a lawyer. I wasn't supposed to come out of this place and make a name for yourself.
Right.
But I always said to myself, nah, I got to get out of here. And from a little kid, I was like, I got to move to New York. I got to get out of here. 17 years old, I was like, goodbye, mommy, goodbye, daddy. I'm out of here. I went to New York for undergrad, and it was the most beautiful thing in my life.
Well, my daughter went to New York, and she didn't want to come back.
Because the mentality is different from Atlanta, Georgia. The mentality is different. The mentality in New York is different from Miami. People are open-minded. People are progressive. People are intellects. People are creative. You know, your daughter, especially her going to a school like NYU, she's around the most creative, intellectual, all balled up in one. There is something about that New York vibe that you have to experience it, live there, be amongst. Going to college there gives you the best idea of what New Yorkers are like because you're kind of forced on this university campus to get to know people.
Yeah. And
you develop long-term friendships and relationships. And just that culture alone, like I tell everybody, you may be better than me. You can probably win me academically, but you'll never be able to dislike the outward.
Well, I tell people that, not just from Atlanta.
Yeah. No, I understand. But your daughter is talking about something so different that you'll see as she develops. You're going to see, you know what? I see this resilience in my daughter. I know that you're strong, but I think your daughter's going to have a different twist to it. I having your foundation and New York School League, she's got to be super creative.
So what made you come back?
Because of my family. I'm number 4 out of 5. And my siblings and I are very close. I also did not like the weather in New York.
Okay.
I don't like to have on big jackets and all these clothes or whatever. I just want to put on something light and go have a fun. Yeah. Like New York, they sit in cold weather for 7 months out of the year. You must be crazy. Yeah. I'm an island girl to the T. I'm not good. But I love New York. There's nothing like New York. But I also love Miami, where I was born and raised.
Yeah. You know? Okay, so let's go back to You as an attorney and advice for women. So you yourself didn't experience being in a relationship where the man made less than you, but you advise women to not date men with or be in relationships with men if he had less than that. So why did you take that stance?
I see how people are dragged in the courtroom. I see how, people develop, and I'm going to say on both sides. I'm going to say women and men. I'm not just going to say men because that would not be true. I have seen how women want to drag a man and want the whole world just because they were in a relationship. I don't agree with that ideology.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I even though, see, the law is this, right? From the date of marriage to the date you file divorce. Well, this is here in Florida. And it's very similar in other places too. From the date of marriage to the date of divorce, Kandi. Everything that was accumulated must be split. You could make everything that was accumulated and you must split it basically 50-50. They say equitably, but it's basically 50-50.
Yes.
The only way to overcome that is to get a prenuptial agreement. Yes. So imagine you being in a relationship and you working your behind off. Your partner, let's say your partner is at home taking care of the kids. I feel like he should get something, but not 50.
Right.
Because he assisted in my elevation, right? He was taking care of the kids because I can't do it all by myself.
Right.
And it's only fair for you to get something. But you can't come at me and say, but you need 50.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
So how do you avoid it?
Prenups.
Okay.
Prenup. I feel like love who you love, but be smart.
Gotcha.
Yeah, love who you. I love love. I've sent so many people out of my office to say, nah, y'all not that thing. You all need to go to a good therapist. You all need to understand what your calling is, right? You might need to go talk to a pastor. You all are not headed down divorce. You all are just too easy to come to talk to a divorce attorney. Go get yourself together. I had one guy come and tell me he wants to have a divorce, right? So we're talking. I was like, tell me the bills in the house. He couldn't tell me. Nah, come on. Get out. How you can't tell me what the bills are in your house? That's disrespectful to your wife. It is. That's disrespectful to your whole family for you to not know what the bills are in your house. You should know it. I come from two parents, came from Jamaica, came here with nothing but a pocket full of hope. That's it. They struggle to make everything work for their children. So I don't believe in people not being accountable for where you exist. You must know what the light bill is. You must know where the mortgage is. You must know how much more we got to pay off the mortgage. You must know what the electricity bill is. You must know that. You cannot live oblivious. Yeah. You got to understand when you click on that light, that bill going to be $400 every month. You have to know. I think it makes people act different. Yeah. And it makes you more grateful to say, wow, I'm pretty sure your house in Atlanta is absolutely gorgeous. Anybody that walks into your house must understand that they are blessed to be in your presence.
I didn't thought of it that way.
Because a lot of people probably have never even seen what you've accomplished in life. So they got to respect it. Right? I think it's important for women to be applauded for the things that we do, and men too. We need to be applauded because guess what? Women like you and I, the road that we took to even make a name for ourselves was tough.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, but many times black men respond to black women's success with punishment.
Whoa, that's deep. Why do we feel that way?
Because I think if you look at the colleges and universities right now, right, it's saturated with women. We're going to school. Even if we drop out, we're going to school. We're trying. I think women understand. Like me, I would never have a child in my life if I can't take care of that child without the father.
Oh yeah, no, I felt that way too.
Yeah. Yes, I believe that men should participate, but if I was not a divorce attorney, I would never drag somebody through the courts. Because I would say to myself, listen, you're going to have a different level of karma if you don't take care of your children. Right? Something's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but life just doesn't work that way where you have these children you don't take care of. It just doesn't work that way. Right? So I always said to myself, like, I'm going to have children where I know I can take care of my children with or without.
Yeah, I definitely thought of it too.
Yes, it's very important. I don't want to drag anybody. You know, if you force me to for some unknown reason, I'm going to do it. But if you and I separate on a good note, then we can go our separate ways and I'll never drag.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say that I didn't drag my daughter's father, but it definitely, I feel like, okay, you should have some type of
He
responsibility.
forced you though. I'm pretty sure you were probably keeping quiet. He was probably still talking
Yeah,
to
well,
us.
when she was little in the beginning, well, I don't want me telling them my business.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't tell the business because you thought people going to take it and then start twisting.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, don't tell it, but I'm pretty sure along
Yeah.
the way, Candy, he did something to really tick you off and you're like, nah, I gotta get it.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. Because I could just imagine for a woman like you, there was a certain venom that he had to get at you, right? Your success. You've been
I don't
successful.
know why.
You've been successful from a kid. That's already a strike against you in a lot of men's eyes.
True, but I think sometimes people can have their own success and then have a FU mentality, and then when their success ain't the same, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we cool again. This stuff.
People can be successful with money. People can be successful with title. But there's a different success when it's a respecting, people respect what you do and love what you stand for and love your energy. There's different levels of success. You could be financially successful all you want to. But when people got a certain respect, the clout that you carry with what you do for a living is different. And so you can't say success is success. The success is different for everybody. So even though he could be rightfully successful, and we're not going to target your daughter's father. I'm just saying anybody. Sometimes the person can even be more successful than you, but they still feel a way about your success because it brings along so much notoriety they can't handle it.
I didn't really think about that, but what I will say is I do agree that sometimes it is hard for men to take when a woman is extremely successful and it is like so for what I'm saying is in my own relationship, and Todd has said this before, he even made like a funny series that he did on social media where every time he even accomplishes anything, people always credit me over him.
But you knew that before you came into the relationship.
Yes, and mind you, my husband is very supportive, and he always, tries.
He looked like a great guy.
Yeah, he even tries to help me, continue to grow on my own. But it is frustrating to him that nobody ever acknowledges his wins. You know what I mean?
I can understand that, but again, not to be tough, but we got to be accountable and we got to acknowledge how we contribute to our suffering or frustration or whatever. He knew this from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you marry somebody super successful, they're always going to say, oh, it's like that. When you step into Neiman Marcus, right? You know the price line is up here. You step into Bergdorf Goodman, you know the price on it. You don't step in unless you wouldn't pay the price. So I think it's the same thing for relationships. You don't step in unless he knew.
Yeah.
I know what Stevie and I knew about you. When I saw that you were writing for I think it was Celine Dion, you and Celine was it Celine or was it somebody?
Mariah Carey.
Yes, Mariah Carey. I'm just like, come on, man. I'm saying to myself, you have made yourself so relevant in the Hollywood industry where I've seen people on the top get to the bottom where it's at the point where they're homeless. They can't even afford where they live. Right? That breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Right? That breaks my heart. I don't want to see anybody on the top come down to the bottom. It's just a very sad feeling. But I do believe, man or woman, and I'm not just saying men, I'm talking about women too. If you step into Neiman Marcus, you got to pay your place. It's as simple as that. If I am with a guy who is super, super successful, I have to accept the fact that whatever I do, they're probably going to say, it was da-da-da-da-da. But I'm fine with it because guess what? I stepped into Neiman Marcus, so I know it comes with the territory. And that way, I prepare myself to say, you know what? I know it's going to be like this, and I just have to deal with it. And that won't, even though it'll be frustrating, I think I'll get over it pretty quickly because I already knew. Like my dad would say, whenever I had problems in my relationships, my dad would say to me, you chose him. Nobody forced you to choose him. Or he'll say something like, you knew because I knew. As simple as that. He would just say to me, you knew he had these traits because I watched him and I could see you. So you knew because I knew. If we communicate with anybody when we meet them, we can pretty much tell the energy within 5-10 minutes. Like meeting you, I can already tell your energy. I could probably dictate to you what your life looked like already just because I'm feeling.
Okay. This
life is full of energy. We flow on frequencies vibration, and energy.
Gotcha.
I could tell very much that you never stop working. You're a workaholic.
Oh, for sure.
I could see some, probably there are times where you feel like you don't get the clout that you feel like you deserve.
You know, that brought out of my...
As far as what the world sees of you, right? And I would be the same too. I would say, like, I don't really care how the world makes me feel. I don't need to be the one in every magazine, at every show, on everybody's talk show all over the world. People praise me. Eventually you develop your circle and you just live within your circle. That's a happier place than always trying to be a part of the next thing that you come across.
I think for me, I have a goal that I'm trying to reach.
Yes.
And I know, you know, there are be rooms that I step in that I may be the more successful, but I'm going to step in a lot of rooms as I'm going to where I'm going where I'm not that successful at all. Like I'm, you know, here and they may go here, but it's just like, none of that bothers me. I could have laser focused.
I could imagine. I am the same way too, right? I know that, you know, there's some attorneys here that have years on me, 10 times more experience than me, but I devote myself on, you know, they call me the legal sniper, right?
Why do they call you that?
Because when I go to court, it's on. Like, there ain't no smiles because nothing ain't funny, right? There's no smiles, there's no nothing. I'll smile when the verdict comes out. Anything I do in life, I give it my all.
That's how I am.
100.
I'm a go hard, go hard to go home type of person, and I pride myself on being a dependable person. So if you got me on your side, I'm coming through every time.
I agree. I'm the same way. I had 2 trials this week. When you have a trial, I'm talking about all-day trial. So we start at like 10 and we don't finish till 5.
Yeah.
In order to prepare for something like that, you're talking about weeks at a time. I had one Monday and I had one Friday, yesterday. Mm-hmm. And tiredness is never an excuse to me.
It's not to me either.
Yeah.
I cannot stand when somebody come around me saying, "Oh, I'm so tired."
Like, what you tired for?
What you tired for?
Yeah.
Every day this week, I done got away before you and when you've been after you. So what are you tired?
Yeah, that's what we said. Like, what are you tired for? You know, I got up this morning. I was like, I'm ready to push. You know, I love this life. I love that I have tapped into what I want to do in my life and moving towards like my bigger goals. Because, you know, we evolve, right?
What are your goals now?
Listening. I don't want to practice law no more.
Really?
No.
Why does everybody that I know that is successful at what they're doing are tired of doing it? They want to do something else. Look at it.
I do not want to practice law anymore. You know, I feel like as human beings, we evolve, right? And there was one point in time where that was my principal goal. My principal goal was to be a lawyer, to be well known, you know, to handle my cases and known as like the legal sniper. You know what I mean? Like I wanted all of that. But I'm over it.
Okay.
So now I want to travel the world. So when I realized that that's what I wanted to do, during COVID, I started Natasha Mayne Inc., which is a consulting firm.
Uh-huh.
So what I do is I do speeches all over, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I consult with women all over the world, and I enjoyed that. I eventually want to write books, but dealing with the stress of litigation, every day running into courts, listen, you got to deal with the judge. You got to deal with opposing counsel. You got to deal with your client. It is nerve-wracking. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You know, you can't be charging somebody $550 an hour and then making a mistake on the case.
Oh,
right? Or you can't be charging that hourly rate and then not win. Right?
right. It's
Right. Because that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
So that stress of doing that, it was thrilling, but I'm over it. I just want to bless women at this point in time. I want women to know that you are phenomenal. You are a gift to us in this world. I want them to know the power that they have internally. I just want to spread that message. That's all I want to do. So I want to write books. I want to get up in the morning and know I got to go have a speech in New York to bless women with words that they needed to hear all their life. If you read any of my posts, I get DMs all the time on my Instagram, and women are saying, "Do you know that I was thinking about suicide, or one of your posts came across to me?" More than once, more than twice, more than 10 times. I think at least 50, 60 times since I started doing this. You know how good that makes me feel? That makes me feel 10 times better than winning any legal case.
Right. So you're in a point in your life, you want to go with what makes you feel good and not necessarily just the financial part.
That is correct. I want to go with the feel good.
I'm with you on that. Me personally, I've definitely been changing how I've been doing things in the past 6 months. I've been trying to figure out what businesses that I'm doing that's just taking my time that, okay, it's making money, but it's not enough for the stress so that I can narrow what I'm doing and focus on the things that I enjoyed more. Like it's more about enjoying life in this phase.
Me too. You have two children, young children, right?
I have 2 young ones, and then I have my 2 older because I have my natural born, and then I have my bonus daughter as well.
Correct. So I know it's like 2 different lives, right? The older ones and the younger ones, right?
Yeah.
Would you say you're at a much better place right now with the younger ones than you were with the older ones?
You saying at a better place as far as
I mean, like spiritually, like how you did.
Yeah.
With the younger ones, would you say you're more at peace? You have more time for them?
I don't know if I would say that because I definitely felt like I spent a lot of time with my older one, but it was, we had a lot of fun, had a lot of moments. But I mean, I think with my younger ones now, I'm still working. So I try to still make those moments and have time. But I think the difference is now I have 2 to split the attention to that are younger versus when I just had the one that was when she was younger, So sometimes, they go through their thing. Ace is like, you like Blaze more than Blaze is like, that is so crazy because, everybody else think Ace in the bed. Like, I'm like, why are y'all trying to make somebody a fake?
Right.
Honestly, I feel like Riley is the one who, even though she's older, she needs more guidance in this era in her life because, once you graduate from college and trying to figure out what you really want to do, what serves you, what makes you happy, and all those things. And she's living in New York and I'm living in Atlanta, but sometimes she still wants her mommy's attention, So it's like,
but I think you did a good job to raise a little girl that chose a school like NYU. There's only a certain mentality of kids that want to go to the NYU.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was all her choice and all her doing. I didn't really, I didn't go to college. So
was she always the kind of kid that was studious?
I would say it wasn't like she was a straight A student, but she was always goal oriented. Like she set the goal for herself, and she's gonna do what she got to do to make that goal. So, Riley is self-aware, and she knows how to handle her own business. So, when it was time to fill out the paperwork for school, she filled out. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's very, those things I think are important because you want to have independence.
Very important.
Yeah. So
NYU also don't let in everybody. Okay. NYU also don't let in everybody. Yeah. Like you got to be creme de la creme to get into NYU.
So I want to go back to how do we embrace that importance of our vagina and how we pick the people we grace its presence with. Let me tell you something. Think about, you ain't just gonna cash and weed somebody and give somebody $200,000-$300,000, are you? Ain't your body just coming to take your money like that. You ain't giving your money just generously, are you? Right? Yeah.
Okay. Because you worked for it, you loved it, you honored it. Mm-hmm. And this is a product of your work, your energy, your blood, your sweat. So we have a generation now of young girls that are very curious. Yeah. Their vaginas, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend that's a pediatrician and she said to me, I've never seen herpes going viral like this right now with young girls.
What you mean going viral?
Like every young kid that comes in has some sort of herpes.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. From middle school, right? Mm-hmm. We used to have sex. I mean, I had people that was having sex from high school or whatever it is, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? But you never heard the alarming, herpes at this age. Mm-hmm. That's not something that can be cured.
Right.
So as a young kid, you coming in and you're almost like damaging yourself over frivolous sexual acts.
Yeah.
Because you must tell the person that you're with next that, hey, listen, I have herpes. You know, I never even knew there was such thing as herpes in the mouth.
Wait.
You can have herpes in your mouth.
You're not talking about the lips. You're talking about
Listen,
like
okay,
well, what is that?
I had a case, child. I had a case.
Please tell
With
me
a man. I asked the man, he came in because you can file a tort litigation in South Florida, like negligence.
Okay.
If you give somebody something serious like herpes.
Okay.
So I asked, did you have sex with the girl? He said no. I said, so how? Like, how did you give her herpes? So he says no. But I said, where do you have herpes? He says, yes, I have herpes. I said, where? You know? He says, in my mouth. When I told my sister, in my law for me having no more glasses, I want paper cups, I want paper forks. I've never heard of that before in my life.
I have to look that up.
But you can transfer it through oral sex. Listen, man, when I was Googling, when he told
Because I need to see what the picture look like so I know what's going on.
being at such a young age of middle school and high school and dealing with something like that, that's devastating to the soul. It's like you carry this secret all your life, you know, and how unfair of you to not tell the next one. That's humiliating to have to go and tell your next partner, hey, listen, I have herpes. That's why it's spread, because nobody's doing that.
You know, a lot of people ain't being honest.
We ain't honest about sexually transmitted demons neither. Right?
Okay, please. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. We're not honest about sexually transmitted demons either.
Like, what does that mean?
You laid out with a man who carries all this burden with him. Depression, poverty, you know, lack of emotional intelligence, all kinds of crap. And women too. I'm just saying men because we're women, right? I'm not saying it's only men. These things are transferred into you when you have sex with these men.
Okay.
So you can be with a man and your life is going pretty good, and all of a sudden you're intimate with this person and you start feeling depressed. Your body don't feel the same way because he has pretty much deposited these demons inside of you. You ever been with a guy you just been totally miserable, unlike you've ever been?
Yeah.
Girl, son.
And then we all been there.
Right. It is a transfer of energy. They do secrete inside of you, and in that secretion comes these dark demons that we don't think about. And sometimes we're wondering, you know, when I was with Johnny, and I was out of control. I almost lost my life. How crazy I used to act. It is because we laid down with, nobody talk about the demons. We just talk about the STDs. But it is very important for you to be careful about who we lay down with. We don't think about these things because, again, we do not honor our vagina. We don't. You won't give a man $200,000 that you just met.
No.
But guess what? Somebody gonna sleep with him on just meeting at a bar. So you won't give your money because you love it so much, you place a value on it, but you'll open up your legs in a heartbeat. We can't do that. And that is why we have a generation of women that we don't stand for. We don't. Yeah. We're always sad. We're always depressed. To be able to say, can they really think she all of that? But yeah. Right? And it's because of the insecurity within my soul, because I'm not honoring myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Candy thinks she got this whole family. Girl, Todd probably cheating on her, right? Because that makes people feel better than understanding you don't honor yourself. So it's easy for you to, people that don't even know you are going to say negative things about you because they are empty. And it starts with lack of honoring. It starts with the fact that they got all these dark demons in them. Remember how Judas did Jesus? He kissed him. In order to show the people who to get, he went to, Judas was there at every meeting, acting like he honoring Jesus. But he went, and all this love a lot of people have for you, disguised as love, it's really hate. It's the Judas thing. I call it the Judas thing, and I tell people that all the time. Judas didn't say, oh, I'm a pinpoint him, but he was like, nah, just watch me go give Jesus a kiss. The man that I give the kiss to, that's the one you need to get. And this is with everything. We think it's love and it's really not. And in order to decipher this, we need to be in tune with our energy.
All right. Y'all heard what she said now. Okay, so let's roll that back though. Because I've heard the argument that men have when a woman does try to honor her vagina or whatever, and they'll be like, well, what makes your vagina so much better than my penis? You know, because they feel like they they think it's power in that. I mean, which it is, you know, I guess. So what's the difference to you?
I think we create men like that. I think we are maintenance workers with men like that. Because guess what? If he come to you and you say, oh no, it's a diamond over here. The Cuban zirconia going to say, come. So we are basically, he's saying, but that's a different quality man.
Okay.
Because somebody that's searching for diamonds know distinctly that cubic zirconias are different from diamonds, and there's no comparison. Who are men going to jump around with? I know they're going to say, oh, with other men. I'm not going there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what makes heterosexual men out of control. Us. Because if we said no and everybody said, oh, you're going to honor my vagina, they're going to say, hey, I got to step it up. So these women out here not playing in the air.
You know, I guess I was, I don't know, you're making me think of it a little bit differently. Now, with a younger woman, I've always thought, yeah, you're supposed to honor yourself. Don't give yourself out to everybody, because you don't want all these different people that have been in you and,
Right.
you know, can just walk away to tell the tale. Like, you don't want that. But I'm not going to lie. As a more mature, I'm mature in my mature age. I am married, but when I be talking to my homegirls and they're like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm celibate right now, or I'm, you know, trying to wait and whatever. In my mind, I be kind of like feeling like, okay, to me, you know, I'm looking at sex as pleasure at this point.
Sure. And it is.
And I also feel like, you know, I've been married. You know, some of the people I know, they've been married, got to have kids already. So we already have been through that phase. At this point in your life, if you have success, you already established, and yeah, you just want companionship, but you don't really know if you totally want it to be a relationship. I'm like, well, what am I saving it for at this point?
I knew you were going there.
I'm just saying.
That is your choice. And every choice we make in life comes with consequences. So when he disrespects you, when he got 3, 4, 5 of you, and you just one of them, you made that choice. I'm not here, mind you, I'm not here to judge anybody. Whatever you want to do with your vagina is your vagina. No, honestly, whatever you want to do with your vagina, you do with your vagina.
Yeah.
But I also know in the practice that I'm in, it destroys women when they're very casual with their vaginas. We weren't made to be casual with our vaginas. Nobody can tell me that we were made to be casual with our vagina. I even had a young girl who was targeted at a very young age, kind of like a child, probably like 16 years old, went off to, I think it was New York, and she was like a call girl. She had a pimp, everything. And she said to me, she knows for sure that the only way women can get used to doing something like that is when something traumatic has happened. And they can lay back and just let different men come up in the over and over and over. She said every time she laid down in the bed, she was a call girl in Manhattan, wealthy men from all over the world. She said every time she laid down, she knew she had to stop doing this, but she was so into it and the money was so good, but she eventually stopped. And I'm here to tell you, I do not believe people are casual with their vaginas naturally. I believe something happens. Sometimes can I have a napkin, please? I believe something happens. Somebody's heart is broken. There's some soul ties. We get fed up and we just say to ourselves, I don't give a damn. Hey, I got it. Like you said, it's right here. Why should I make it grow cobwebs? It's for pleasure. That mentality will get you in trouble all day. I see it in my office. Every day, I see it in my office. And sometimes I got to tell them, listen, man, y'all got to control y'all vaginas. Like, y'all got to discipline y'all vaginas.
Okay. So let's say you have a woman, let's say she's over 40, already been married, divorced, already had children. She's not looking to have no more. So if she doesn't, I guess, align in the right relationship, you're saying just hold that, let Cooper just keep going cobwebs. Yeah, you got cobwebs over there.
Hey, but that's okay. That's okay. But guess what? She don't have no demonic spirits all over her. She doesn't have somebody just harassing and stressing her out unnecessarily. The woman is living her life.
So you don't even believe in a maintenance man?
Nah.
Not even a maintenance.
No.
Not even somebody that you just don't want to have as your man, but y'all.
But you see, I feel like, why we got to be so weak and let our vaginas run us? Why we can't run it? Why we can't say to ourselves, like, you know what?
I don't think it's about being weak, though.
I do. And I'm not judging for somebody who does. But I know the consequences that come with it. Now, you got some women that can just sleep with somebody and not even care. Kudos to you. But I feel if I was to get this woman one-on-one and ask her why she's doing it, she's covering up something.
Yeah.
Something is being covered up. Just like girlfriend right here. She said she got cobwebs. She's proud of her cobwebs.
But to me, okay, so, I know people that, have been friends with my mom who they went abstinent in their like early 40s or late 30s. It was like, oh, I'm just going to stay abstinent until I find the right relationship. Now they're in their 70s, and that thing is like, whew, you can just, it's going to be a whole bunch of dust blowing off of it.
But Candy, is something really wrong with that?
It's nothing wrong with that. But to me, and for me, now, like I said, I'm in a marriage, so I don't necessarily count. But if I wasn't in a marriage, to me, I'm trying to live my best life at all times. I'm trying to enjoy myself and have fun. I'm trying to receive pleasure, give pleasure, and, just have a good time. So I'm not saying that I'm out here thinking that it would be okay just everybody you meet at the bar, like you said, or whatever. But I don't see anything wrong with a maintenance man. Or, somebody that y'all align that way, but you may not want them to be your mate.
A maintenance man comes and goes. And he got a whole bunch of people on the outside too. What people don't even realize that he out there doing other people too. Why does pleasure have to come from sex? Why can't pleasure be reading a beautiful book? Why can't pleasure be creating something, doing some art, going out there doing some kind of a charity work? Why does pleasure always have to come from sex?
No, it doesn't always have to come, but that's just in addition to all those other.
I understand. And you got a whole bunch of people now agree with you say, get her off. She trying to act all bougie.
No, because I know a lot of people who agree with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's just, I guess a difference in opinion, but I totally get it.
Thank you.
My homegirl said the whole world thinks I'm a freak.
But guess what? If I'm with a man, I want the sexual toys too.
Yeah.
Because I want to go all the way. Sex is made for pleasure. I don't believe in the church woman vibe. No.
Okay.
I want to get nasty. I want you to probably even slap me once or twice. I want to have a fantastic time. But it has to,
Scorpio, boy.
yes, it has to be in the right relationship. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Are you in a relationship currently?
I'd rather not say.
Oh! Anyway, so, but yeah, I mean, it's funny because Jamie's in the background, so like, everybody's thinking Candy's just a freak. Okay, yeah.
You have a right to be freaky. You're in a marriage. Why not go all the way with your husband? Just like you said, God knew what he was doing when he orchestrated sex, gave you a vagina, gave you a penis. It was to pleasure one another. And yes, you're married. This is what you're supposed to do. Have all the toys. Have all the everything.
Yeah, correct. I mean, honestly, I was kind of like that before I got married. And I would have to say that, but I do agree that I don't think that women should be so free with it.
No.
You know what I mean? But as you get older, I have just a difference of opinion. I do have a difference of opinion of how I feel like a younger woman should handle herself prior to
Tell me how
marriage.
you're trying to behave sexually.
Well, she ain't gonna listen to me. She gonna do what she wanna do.
But how did you like her?
I agree with you were saying, and that she should hold value to it and treat it like it's $1 million. She ain't gonna give $1 million to everybody, so don't give
That is
her soul to everybody. I also think there's a difference of opinion from people who, because you grew up with both your parents.
correct.
And he did not.
Correct.
So I think there's also, whether you call it childhood traumas or whatever, that we think differently, because it's like a lot of people come from divorce or single parents or whatever. I feel like it's the realization of that relationship may not last or it may not be here. And then what? It's like, you pour all this in, wait all this time and pour yourself into the one that you say is supposed to be there forever. And then you see that for a lot of people that is a fairy tale and it does not last.
But Kandi, you chose that. You chose that mindset. Because don't think that because I grew up with both parents that I don't have trauma to me. Sometimes some parents needed to have divorce.
Yeah.
Right? But you see the trauma
Yeah.
in the relationship. I think we pick our mindset according to what makes us sleep easier or not.
Okay. Why you say that?
Because I feel like you're mentioning these fears, right? That you saw homie go through. I see my parents together. I have a lot of fears too. And I think my fears are a little bit different. My parents were together for 60 years before my dad died last year. 60 years. It was not perfect. And there were certain things that my dad did too. Like I saw he's a Caribbean man, very dominant with his voice and all that kind of stuff. The minute somebody talks to me in a disrespectful tone, it's on. I'm telling you, it's on. And that has been my prayer to God, to not be that way. So I have so much trauma. But I gotta say that I should be able to control that trauma. I remember hearing my dad say certain things because he wasn't a man of many words, but when he spoke, he spoke. And he was very dominant with his voice when he didn't have something to say. I have chosen a couple of years back that I would not be so spitfire because I am ready to fight and attack at any point in time if you talk to me wrong. And I realized that attitude was going to get me in trouble. It could possibly make me lose my bar license because I can get so out of control when somebody intentionally tries to insult me, especially in a relationship. But now I've chosen the opposite mentality. Like, okay, I did see certain things growing up and I choose to be more emotionally intelligent. Before I would say, Kandi, I would say, well, I saw daddy being disrespectful and this is just how I am. Because I chose that mentality. And now I want to be more emotionally intelligent.
Now, and then that leads to something that I always say to myself, to be honest with you. I hate that you even brought up the word traumas because I don't even be wanting to hear that crap when people be talking about their traumas because I believe that traumas are a reason but not an excuse. It could be a reason why you think that way but not an excuse.
You got to
continue to.
I agree.
So with that being said, yes, there may be a reason to where I didn't necessarily hold value in relationships, but that I don't want to use that as the excuse to why I feel like
good.
It's okay.
That's right.
For women to just be like, all right, I'm just gonna have fun and I don't want the relationship. Now, for me, personally, I just feel like, okay, if a lot of people want their end goal to be marriage and all of that, I've had marriage. Right now, I'm in the marriage. I'm happy to be married. But Lord forbid, if that wasn't here for me later on in life, I don't know if I'm gonna be holding on to this just to be for a person that I'm going to be serious in marriage again. And I don't even think I would get married again. I am definitely going to think to myself that I would not do it again because I feel there's a lot that comes with marriage that I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else for the time.
That's right.
So, to say that, but for my friends and different people that I know who have gone through there, been there, done that, marriage, kids, got the certificate, I don't understand what you holding on to.
Marriage, relationships, whether you want to give in, not give in, you got to have the right mentality. It's about whatever you fix your mindset. If you can live with it, you just got to live with it.
Yeah.
I know I ain't giving up $100,000 or $1 million easily, much less I show enough ain't giving my vagina easy. I'm not.
Yeah, I gotta put in a little work now.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like people need to put in a little work.
And if you don't, if you don't put boundaries on yourself, nobody ain't gonna do it for you. And I'm not saying.
So have you ever in life had a one night stand?
No, wait.
Never.
Not
even. Oh, well, you were married.
Yeah, never. And I never, I always tell people, don't say never, say never. But I ain't seen one guy yet that will qualify for it.
I think there was 2 times in my life that I thought it was going to be a one night stand, but it ended up being a situation where we kept going back and forth, kicking it for years. But the first day, in my mind, I was cool with just saying, okay, I'm going to try. This will be fun. You know?
It probably would be fun. But then when I wake up the next day, I'm going to be mad at myself. It probably
I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad, but they kept calling me.
Because it's that good, huh?
It was that
Yeah.
It was that good. But, I mean, I wasn't mad. I just thought it was a fun, exciting experience. I'm like, I cannot believe. You know, and mind you, it wasn't like a complete stranger. It was just like with a person that I knew, but I thought it was going to be like a one night stand. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
I ain't that casual. My vagina can't.
Yeah, no, I can't. Now, if it was a person that I'd never met before in my life, I can't just meet somebody. Because I don't move based off of attraction. Meaning, you know, a lot of people could say, oh, you so fine.
Ooh, lusting.
Yeah, now I want to date you. No, I have to be around you. It's something about you that I find interesting. Oh, they're very smart, or they're very funny, or they're very, you know, like they have to grow on me to want to even go there with somebody. Although, first day that I met Todd, we talked all day, and then at the night, just kind of like grabbed me and kissed me aggressively, and I was like, I'm late. We've been together. We didn't have sex that first day, but we did kiss that first day.
Where you met Todd?
In Africa. He was working with the production, Council House production. We were on the after trip, and yeah, like you start talking the last day.
What mommy said when you met them?
Well, I mean, she go through these moments. Like, 1 minute she could be really nice and be cool, and then every 8 months with the drama. I mean, be like,
so how do you feel?
I'm building her a house in our neighborhood now.
But it doesn't hurt you that she doesn't love your husband?
I mean, my mother is, even prior to my husband, she's always been very harsh on relationships. My mother put a lot of heavy weight on a person needing to be way more successful than me. Growing up, yes, I've dated people who were more successful than me, some who were not as successful than me, but it's like, I gotta go with who makes my heart smile, and I can't worry about, like, yeah, like, I love you, but
High five, mommy.
I'd be still single, child, if I had just wait around here and see rich.
I mean, if you're happy, you know, I really think mommy should try to work on.
It's been over 11 years of marriage and 2.5 years of dating prior to that.
So
I gave up.
What is mommy's birthday?
She's a Scorpio.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew. Not that I even believe in signs, but I was like, this sounds like a Scorpio mentality. Like, once she says she's done, she's done. And she really means every word of really done.
Oh, she means every
word. Oh, she's not going to be faking phony with you. No.
She does not care.
Yes.
But, you know, I know my mother, and I'm just okay with that. I'm surrounded by Scorpios, actually. Like, everybody is a Scorpio. I'm Taurus. I'm just even flow and liking.
Yes, I can see that in you.
I can do.
Very much so. You know, being confident in what you do, you know, and you believe this chorus is better than the next chorus, or you believe this is better than. That's what led to your success, by you being stubborn in that area. But I want to build on you a little bit. You know, I think it's so very important to celebrate women and to really applaud people like you who have taken a space and made it into like an empire. And that's what you've done. And I think you don't even understand the impact that you have on women on the outside of your world, to see you, a little Georgia girl, grow up and glow up in the way that you do. It makes everybody feel like they too can do it.
Thank you.
And we need to be applauded. I want you to know there's a battalion of women out here, whether they watch Housewives or not, but they know that you are truly a queen in your own right, and that we are always cheering behind you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. I appreciate you so much, and I've been following you.
And I thank you so much for this opportunity. You wouldn't even imagine. This is like a stepping stone towards me walking away from law and going where I want to go.
Okay.
I'm telling you, that's how I'm looking at this experience right here. And I thank you, truly.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, everybody, make sure that you follow her, and
yes,
because, you know, for the styles.
Yes.
All the inspiration.
Yes.
Okay? And thank you.
Wait, honey, they got to see this.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Oh, yeah, that's what you... The wall.
Woo! 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 That's for, oh yeah, take the shoes, take the shoes, take the shoes. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Listen, honey, I truly believe we need to always dress like a queen. The way we dress teaches everybody how to address us. All right? That's it. Mwah.
Well, I feel like I learned a lot today. Okay, and I definitely feel like there's a lot of little jewels within this conversation that we need to share, because I know it was a lot of things that you said today that I want to share with my daughter Riley, and just women in general. So everybody, please like, share, tell everybody about it, and thank you for watching. Stay on it.
Thank you. Yeah. We did it.
I had already heard. I can turn a shade tree into a money tree.